All right, everybody. Thank you for joining today. My name is Mark Stepp. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer here at Realvolve, and we are going to go over in office hours today a section for client documents. Last week, we opened up a brand new feature within Realvolve showing how to use webhooks. And in webhooks, let me see if I can, there we go. In webhooks, you can do lots of things. And the question was, what is a webhook? And just in plain English, webhook is just a web address. It allows you to send data to that address. What we want to do is take data from Realvolve, either from the contacts, the properties, or transactions. We want to use a workflow action that passes data to that webhook URL, and it can be used for lots of different things. It can be used for Google Documents, Google Sheets, Slack, Trello, just a whole gamut of possibilities. The idea here for today's webinar is really to take a Google Doc of some sort and create a template from it. From that template, then, at any time that you want to create a document with filled in information and then be able to then turn around and print that document, you can do it very easily. Something that we've not really had in the past that was really easy, but certainly now you can certainly do it. So first thing that you need to do is create some kind of Google Doc. And this is just a sample one. I used one of the templates that's in there. It's just using some basic layout stuff and colors. You can change whatever you want. The main emphasis of this is that in the document, you need to create merge fields. And merge fields in Google Docs is just a matter of putting some field name, and you can create it to be whatever you want it to be. I would recommend that you not put spaces in there. It can cause some challenges, but any kind of word that makes sense to you, and put it in double squiggly braces on both sides. So if I wanted to put a mailing name into the document, put in the little curly brace, mailing name, in curly brace, in curly brace. Technically, you can give it any name that you want. There's really no requirement there other than I wouldn't put any spaces in there. So once you get your document created and saved, you can put it into the root of your Google Drive, or if you want to create a separate folder called templates or something like that, you can certainly do that. But what you do is create the document and store it, create it so that it's in there. Then you can go to a service like Zapier.com. Now, Zapier is not the only one that can do this. There's other options, but Zapier is a great one to use. And they have what they call webhooks for Zapier as the app. So you go to your Zapier account, you choose webhooks by Zapier. Now, this does require that you have a paid version of Zapier. The webhooks application from Zapier is a paid option, but with all the features that you can do with a paid version, it's well worth the price. So you're going to connect a webhook for Zapier, and as basically the trigger part, and the action is I want to do something with Google Docs. So connect the two applications together. So when this happens, a catch hook, that means we've sent data through this webhook URL, this webhook address, in an action. We want to create this document from a template. So whenever you select those options, you click on try it, it will then create kind of the Zapier layout for you, but it does all the work for you in that it goes ahead and says, okay, they want to create a webhook. They want to catch a hook. Here's the hook. Here's the address that you can send any data to, and we'll do something with it. So the nice thing is Google gives you this webhook address, and all you got to do is click on copy. Once you've copied it, then you go back into Realvolve and you go into one of the activities of a workflow and create an action. And in this case, I just clicked on create an action. I want to create a welcome letter. Maybe this is a buyer welcome letter, a seller welcome letter, whatever. You can create it. In this case, I'm doing a buyer welcome letter. We've added this new section down here called webhook. You'll click on the little arrow to open it up. And there's basically two elements now. There is the URL. So you're going to click into this open field here, and you're going to paste in that URL that you just copied from Zapier, and you're going to put it in there. The next thing you can do is click on the button that says send sample data. So what this does is this just sends some sample data to that URL address so that you don't have to go through and actually start the workflow and do the process. This is a quick and simple way just to get some basic data in there to see what fields are available. So you click on send the sample data, and it sends it. Then you click on save. So once you click on the save button, go back to the Zap, and after you've clicked that button, you can now click on test trigger. Once you test the trigger, it's going to come back as either a failure, there's some kind of problem, and you just test it again until it finally gets there. Once it gets there, it will take you and show you the fields of data, the sample data that came in. So names, addresses, phone numbers, that type of stuff. And it's just sample stuff that's in there. There is a link, and I'm going to make this presentation available to everybody. There is a link to a list of all the fields that are available in here as well. So you can click on that and get to the entire list of fields just so that you can search them if you want. But it does give you the full list of fields, and that's great. We just wanted to test to make sure that we got everything in there. Once the webhook side of it has been set up, we need to start setting up the Google Docs side of this. And this just comes down to making sure that you've got the correct actions and stuff. In this case, the action was to create a document from a template. We had picked that from the previous one, so it goes ahead and shows you that. And you just click on continue on that. It'll then ask you which Google Doc account do you want to use. And in this case, I'm using one that I use for training called realvolvetraining@gmail.com. And then you're going to click on continue. At that point, then it's going to come up and say, okay, we've got some things on this Google Doc that we need to pick from, and we need to do some stuff with it. So it's going to ask you which template, which document do we want to use? And you'll click on the down arrow on this and choose from any of the documents that are in your Google account. In my case, I had created that buyer welcome letter in the very beginning. So I picked that buyer welcome letter. It then says, okay, this is a template. We're going to create a new document. What is the new document's name that we're going to create? And in this case, I just wanted to put something that related to the person and what I'm actually sending. So I put in there just welcome letter, and you can name it whatever you want. You can do whatever you want with it. If you just want to keep it one name, you can certainly put in there. But in my case, I wanted to also put in the name of the person receiving this so that I knew which letter goes to what. So I used one of the merge fields that is available from that webhook. In this case, Joe and Jane Agent. And what we're going to do then is whenever we create this document, whenever it creates the document for us, it goes through and puts the words welcome letter : Joe and Jane Agent together, and that is the document name. You can name it however you want, whatever you want, so just kind of build that how you want. Then it also says, okay, which folder do you want this new document to go into? Now, what I do in this type of situation is I create a folder, a special folder that I just use for letters to print. I named it letters to print. And anytime I create a template of some sort, I throw it into letters to print. That way I can go into my Google Docs or my Google Drive folder and I can see all the different letters that I need to print. I go through and I print them, and then I move them into the appropriate places that I want to move them into for safekeeping, or if I just want to delete them at that point, you can certainly delete them. A lot of times it's just a matter of making sure that you print it and get rid of it, or if you want to, you can save it and put it into a saved folder of some sort. The next question then becomes, okay, there are sharing preferences that are available for Google. Do you want to do anything with them? And there's options like, don't share or whatever. In this case, I chose share with anyone that has the link. If maybe I wanted to give the client this link so that they had access to it remotely, that would be an option. You can set whatever sharing preferences you want. And then there's also an option for unused field preferences. This would be a case is if you're creating a document and not all the fields were coming from Realvolve, maybe other fields existed from some other source. Do you want to keep those fields in the document or not? In my case, it really doesn't matter because I'm going to fill in all the fields. But if you're using some document where maybe you're merging information from multiple sources, you could certainly do that. You'd want to make sure that you use keep. So it keeps those merge fields, the little squiggly braces. It can, if you choose the option to remove them, then if something isn't filled in, it will, or not defined, it can remove those curly brace fields from the list. So then on down further on that, then based off of picking that particular letter, it loads up on the rest of the action itself, a place for you to define all those merge fields that you're going to use. So it built this list dynamically because it read the document and said, oh, they have a field in there called mailing name. Oh, they have a field in there called address and city, state, zip code, and greeting. So then it's a matter of going to each one of these fields and filling in which merge field. So you just click into the list and you can see all the different merge fields that are available for this. So if there's something that you want to add to a field, you just click in there, you pick it from the list, and you can do little searches. This is kind of the nice thing, is if I wanted to put in, let me just take this one out, the address. If I click into the address field and I know I want to put an address in there, I can just type in address. Then it's a matter of figuring out which address do I want. In this case, I just want the contact address, home, street, and the street has the full street address, number, direction stuff in there. So I pick that. Once I pick that, then it's available in the list. So you pick the fields that correspond to the merge fields that are available for that document. Once you've done all that, then you click on continue, and it will go and show you a list of the template, the field information that you picked, just to kind of give you a summary of what you've done so far. And then you can click on the little test and continue. Whenever you click on test and continue, it's going to go out to the document, pull it up, merge in the data from that webhook template that we sent as far as the template data, the sample data, merge it into the document, and then save that document then into the folder, which is the folder that I selected, which is letters to print. What you can do then is go into that letters to print section, and you'll see that up at the top, as far as the name of this, welcome letter, colon, and then the name of the person. In this case, Joe and Jane Agent was the name of the sample contact. And it puts in the associated fields. Very simple piece there. You're just going to the drive.google.com, go to your subfolders, wherever that you've told it to store that, and you can see it. So the nice thing about this is that we can go through at any time creating this Google Doc and be able to do the process. So let me show this kind of in real life. Here, what I did in this case was I created just a sample workflow with office hours, create welcome letter. I created a new activity, gave it a title, create welcome letter to print. Down here in the action, I clicked on create the action, gave it a title, just closed up everything, came in here, pasted in that URL, clicked on sample data, and then clicked on save. Once you've got this all set up, then you can go to any contact, and let's just go into let's go June Carter. Let's double check to make sure June has an address. Yeah, 444 North Market Avenue. In this case also, let me go to personal details. June is married to Johnny Cash. And at this point, what I want to do is go to the radar and click on to start a workflow. And I'm going to say office hours, welcome letter. Now, you don't have to create just a new workflow for this. This could just be one step of any of your existing workflows. I just created this one just to make it simple. Next, in this case, create the welcome letter is just one of the letters that might be in a huge list of activities that you do. Click on that and click on done. Once I go to the activities, create welcome letter to print. Here's the one that it just created for me. I do have this happy anniversary one that is old. Let me just skip that one. I don't want to actually send that. And what we're going to do is click on create welcome letter. Now, because this is an action for us to send, it's going, whenever we go to complete it, it's going to say, hey, here's the actions that are available. Which ones do you want to use? And you might have multiple actions with multiple different webhooks available for you to choose from. Maybe one is to send, this welcome letter. Maybe one is to send, something else for some other reason. And I know a lot of people are getting away from printed documents, but it's also a great way to grab attention. A lot of people have gone to email, but some people are coming back to printed because people don't always open their emails and stuff. And this is just another way and maybe you want to send an email and you want to send it as a printed document. Maybe you do both in the action itself. But in either case, we now if I look over here, there's only one document, which is that sample Joe Agent one. If I click on run, come over here, it will go through the process of creating that document and should show up any second. There it is. So boom, there it is. And at this point, then if I wanted to come in here and do multiples of these, I can preview them, I can download them, I could go through and print each one of them. So I just come here, pull them all up, review them, make sure they have what I want in them, and then click on print and then go to the next one. Click on print, go to the next one. How simple is that? The nice thing then is once you get them all printed, you do all the things that you want to do, you can come in here and then move them into the associated places that you want to put them. All the different possibilities are there. That then leaves all your letters to print folder blank. So it's just 2 steps. Create the hook, catch that hook, put that hook information into the action, run the sample gets created. That then sends it then to my Google Docs. My doc then says, okay, I've got a document, I've got a template, merge in the data, store it into a folder. And then from that point, you can do whatever you want to with it from there. letter and go into letters to print. So then if I go to yet another contact, starting different, office hours. And the nice thing is you can do this, as any part of your steps at any time of the, through the process. And if you're always putting them into that same folder, the letters to print, then it's just a matter of each time you go in here and click on run, it then creates that document into the letters to print. So it should just take a few seconds and then it creates it. So here in this case, Mark and Kathy Stepp, information, all the stuff in there. So just a great way to create the documents, be able to do it automatically and make it available for you to print and do the things you want to. Now, another option that you might put on there is actually to send that document to a printer automatically. You would have to have your document printer on the web so that it has like an HP printer email address and be able to send that. So that would be an option for you to just automatically send something to a printer. I was playing with that and works really well. All right. If there's no other questions, then at this point, we're going to give you the rest of your time off. I appreciate everybody coming to this and letting us show you kind of what is available. And if there's anything that we can do to help you with the things that you do within Realvolve, certainly come in and into the support, into help. You go to help.realvolve.com, send us an email, support@realvolve.com, or just hop onto the chat and we'll certainly be able to direct you to the right place. So guys, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your week and we will talk to you later.